Can you beat Calamity Infernum without crafting? Well, no. But there's a whole interesting video ahead of us, so let's rephrase. How many crafts does it take to beat Calamity on Infernum mode? I'll only be able to craft absolute necessities like required boss summons. And I won't even need to craft anything until post-Moonlord. So all of our gear, accessories, and even building materials must be scavenged, bought, or dropped from enemies or bosses. This will place a very unique restriction on our loadout, resulting in some very interesting boss fights, so stick around for that. Anyways, let's go! Starter bag. These are going to be my main items for now. This gel I'm about to get from this slime, I won't be able to make it into torches. You typically start a run by chopping down trees and making a shelter, to craft walls, and craft a table and a chair, and torches. But we can't craft any of the furniture we need to make that shelter into a home. So, what do we do? And what do we do in general? We can't craft a thing, and this game revolves around crafting. My first instinct here was to go underground, where we could find chests for loot, and cave houses for possible walls and furniture. But along my way, I found something that could give us both of those. Do I have any? Okay, good, I've got torches. Nice. But a chest is very useful because we can get actual weapons. In a living tree, you'll not only find butt tons of chests, but also the occasional house. Holy shit, there's free. Okay, housing. We have a house. Well, unfortunately, the natural walls don't count for housing. Oh, missing a wall? But either way, we left here with one of the things we need to make our own house, and we also discovered that this living tree leads directly into an underground desert. Of course, you're probably thinking the underground desert has some sick loot, but the thing I've got my eyes set on is the desert medallion. You'd normally craft a desert medallion, so why am I bringing it up? A lesser known fact about it is that it has a 20% chance to appear in underground desert chests, meaning that we'll be able to prepare for our first boss, and we'll have the means to fight our first boss. And we've made it to paradise. No, I didn't. Whoops. Before that, though, I wanted to go pillage Drayden's big nugget, since not only can we get tons of money and potions from the chests, but we can also ransack the place for walls and potential furniture too. Second campfire. Yes! This is the only run where I'd be excited about a campfire. After using up all my wood to bridge, I did one more leap of faith, then called it quits for the sky and went to check out the underground desert. While I explore the place in the background, I'll talk about my game plan real quick. Good thing we could actually get them in this challenge. There's 3 things I'm looking for in the underground desert. The first of which being just good weapons and accessories like the Stormjaw staff or the Dune Rider boots. Second being the desert medallion to fight the desert scourge with. And third, as more of a cherry on top, the desert shrine, which will give us even more dosh and the new and reworked Luxor's gift. Of course, most of these 3 things should come about naturally given enough time, but what about armor sets? We can't craft any of the classic ore sets, so we're gonna have to go out of our way to find something unique. My first thought here was the ninja set from King Slime, but you have to craft his summon, so the only 2 ways we can even fight him are 1, for a slime rain, or 2, by waiting ages on the outer thirds of the map. Translate that to English, and there is no way we're getting ninja armor. So I thought even deeper. Instead of thinking, what can I get without crafting, I thought, what can I get from bosses? What can I get from enemies? What armor sets can you get from enemies? The Ancient Shadow Armor. If I were to build a mob grinder in the Corruption, then I could get my grubby hands on a full set of armor without any crafting. And all it will take is a bit of time and luck. But I'm getting ahead of myself, let's get back to the underground desert. So far I'd managed to get a Stormjaw staff and an Ancient Chisel, but I was still using the boomerang I found in a wooden chest. Luckily on my next trip down I pretty quickly found some boots, but I still wasn't even halfway to maxing out my life. Okay, Extractinator. Do I count this as crafting? It's not shimmering, which is decrafting crafted items into their crafted components. And it's not clicking here to craft stuff, but I'm not going to do that. There are quite a few arguments to be made with the Extractinator and how crafty it is, but after a bit of thought, I don't think it gives you anything that you can't obtain elsewhere without crafting. Oh no, wait, you're right, a workbench. You're a genius, I didn't see that. I picked up a burnt sienna from a tomb crawler, which is not going to help with bosses, but should help me take out the underground enemies a bit quicker. 2 life crystals. I found a grav potion in a pot somehow, which I immediately used to take to the skies. Sadly, I don't get any good sky chest loot, but I still got a ton of life crystals from the small planetoids, so I see this as a win. Couple hobbies. And after making my landing in the jungle, I decided to explore that for a bit. No, it's actually a rocket launcher. Talk to Nefario. Gru, I can't do. How do you do the voice? Oi, Gru, me son!
why don't you test out this new fart gun I've been developing in the research lab? I've spent 20 fucking... No, he doesn't say fuck. I've spent 20 years of my life.
Aside from the schematic and enough walls for like 2 houses, I don't really find anything in the jungle lab. And also nothing in the jungle itself, really. Another house. With all the walls and furniture I found underground, I am finally able to make 2 houses though. And there we go, that's a second house, hopefully the merchant moves in. Which means, I've reached my very first big milestone of this challenge. My first pylon, and here's to many more yet to come. Right there. Now, seriously, back to the desert. In the corner of my eye, I spot something bearing heavy resemblance to a shrine. The reworked Luxor's gift is actually an immense help for our exploration, making our true melee weapons fire projectiles and our summoned weapons fire through blocks.
That is so... oh my... holy!
I've still yet to find a desert medallion and max out my life, but this will be an immense help for farming the Eater of Souls we need to get the ancient shadow armor. Speaking of which, I've explored basically all of the underground desert at this point, and still haven't found a desert medallion, which, keep in mind, is a 20% chance. So for the time being, I decide to cut my losses and make a new world later to see if I can find one. Upon returning home though, I notice there's a slime rain, so I decide to capitalize.
Nah, come on, let's do King Slime. I'll probably die, but... we can try.
A mining helmet and an army of slimes later, the king descends upon our peasant village.
Shit, okay, go time.
This is our first attempt on the first boss, and we're using wooden chest loot. Let's see how we can do. Why did you moon jump, King Slime? Haha. Suffice to say, with the speed of our Dune Rider boots and the vital jelly we got a minute ago, we were able to dodge the king fairly well.
Oh, ninja. Oh no. No, I've got to just run for my life. No regard for anything in this world, other than... oh no. This is really bad.
Yeah, with no arena or double jump, this is kind of scuffed. If I had the summon, I'd keep fighting this guy till I win, but attempts on this boss are going to be rare, so I decide once again to cut my losses, and make a new world to find a desert medallion, because I still hadn't found it.
Oh, that was quick. Oh, yes, Spelunker. Max out life. There we go.
I was almost at my limit, and about to give up hope on finding the desert medallion, but then...
yeah, see, look at that, there we go.
That was like north of 20 chests for a 1 in 5 drop. But whatever, doesn't matter now. I collected 4 grav potions while I was down there, so I took to the skies again, and found the Star Fury.
Yeah, very good.
Then I zipped to the Sulphurous Sea using the magic conch I found earlier. Then dive into the Abyss, looking for the Rusty Beacon Sentry, which will not only hard carry through the Scourge, but also help me out with something I wanted to do.
There we go, Rusty Beacon prototype.
I had some very serviceable weapons and decent enough accessories at this point, but I was still rocking a mining helmet and the Ancient Cobalt leggings.
There's corruption, there we go.
With Ancient Cobalt and Ninja Armor being inconsistent at best to obtain, the resounding option here is Ancient Shadow Armor. I'm sure no sane person has ever gone out of their way to farm for this set, so if you were curious, this is what an AFK corruption farm looks like.
So now we wait.
According to the game's wiki, each piece of armor has a 0.19% chance to drop from the Eater of Souls. So when you spread that across all 3 pieces, not even factoring in the chance of getting a duplicate piece, a generous estimate would be 1,575 Eaters. I've played my fair share of incrementals, I used to grind out clicker heroes, but even this is gonna take a while. Although, after just a mere 300 of them...
I wasn't looking, there we go. Okay, it's possible.
Just like with the Desert Medallion, the thought in the back of my mind was, what if they reworked it? What if they changed it? What if you can't get this anymore? But getting that first piece, after only 300 Eaters too, gave me hope.
Oh, legs!
And after only 950 kills, we were wearing the full set.
Oh, yes!
You just watched this entire fiasco go down in about 10 seconds, but believe me, this took multiple hours of farming.
Maybe we don't even need an arena. We got the movement and acceleration from the Shadow Armor, Vital Jelly, and the Dune Rider boots.
You could argue that I was ready for the Scourge before I got the armor, but now that I have it, overkill would be the Wikipedia definition of an understatement.
Yeah. Oh, that's a strat? Oh my, the damage! Holy!
Turns out, the debuffs from the Rusty Beacon Sentry and our Stormland Summon were turning this boss into a roasted salmon.
What is this? Come on.
I think I should start betting on myself a bit more now, because I feel bad for the Scourge.
What even is this? Can't touch me, there we go.
I get the Rogue drop, the Scourge of the Desert, then fight the boss once more for the Summon drop, wrap it up and call it a day.
Yeah, there's the Brutal Star Staff, that's the one I want.
Now with the blood of a boss on our hands, I can say for sure that this challenge is going somewhere. But before I continue on forwards, I decided to break up the pace a bit and go on a hunt for all the pylons, which in this challenge involves a lot of blowing up random structures for building materials. Oh, look at that, yeah, we can build multiple houses. Before I fully set off though, I break 2 shadow orbs so that the goblin army has a chance to spawn. Cloud in the bottle, yes. That's so good. Yeah, look at that, we got sofas, we got beds, tables, chairs, grandfather clocks, everything between. You don't need to be alive for the pylon to work, I just need to put this down. And I'm good, I can just... whatever. I'm not gonna question your methods. Net me a pylon, thank you. Goodbye. In terms of the bosses we can go for right now, the sky is the limit. But there's one boss in particular that stands out amongst all the others, for being an absolute fraud. If you know me, you know I have the attention span of a bowl of spinach. So while I was farming for shadow armor, I got a bit bored and tried the hive mind. And believe it or not, I got pretty far with the gear I had at the time. So now, donning a full set of armor and having a double jump, I think I'm more than ready to re-challenge this boss. And as a precaution for the flamethrower attack that got me last time, I built a big Reg W tower to grapple to. The first phase of the fight is entirely possible to dodge without any mobility upgrades, although the dash can be a bit tricky if you get a bad angle. There it is! Haha, it worked. Let's go. In terms of our weapons, I found the Star Fury was doing a bit more damage, but the Scourge of the Desert was much easier since it basically locks onto the Hive. But when the Hive isn't moving though, I switch back to the Star Fury and get some ludicrous damage. So far, I wasn't having a single problem with this fight. Even the second phase is pretty easy with some good movement. But then we get to this attack. You're supposed to dodge this by flying slowly around the Hive, but without platforms or wings, that will prove rather difficult. That was just luck. All the other attacks are fine-ish, but when I start to see the Hive moving zesty, that's how I know my death is imminent. That's bad. No, I'm good. I got it. That's kinda crazy. Running far away from the boss seemed to be a decent strat, but would it be consistent enough though? Look at that! Oh man. Wild. I'm dead. I tried a method of running far away on the next attempt, but that fails catastrophically. That really is a shame. It seems that I was missing something. Some kind of pattern for this attack. That's bad. No, not again. Not again. Every time I ran to the left, I'd always take a ton of damage, so I thought maybe I'll try running to the right. Shit. How am I getting hit so many times? Fuck! This attack that I hate. Running to the right did actually help a lot, I think because of the ramp I put there, but I still needed to refine my movements. But this is not how you dodge this attack, man. This ain't it. Whew. That was a lucky cycle. Again? Damn, how many times are you gonna do this? I still wasn't consistent with that blob attack yet, so I was definitely tanking those hits. I won't be able to face tank like this in the future, but it got me the win for now, so I'm happy. Yeah, perfect dark. The two main bosses we had left in pre-hard mode now were Skeletron and the Wall of Flesh, so our progression sounds pretty linear and straightforward, right? No, the exact opposite. There were so many different things on my to-do list that all feeded into and helped out with other things, so I was paralyzed for choice here. Of course, Skeletron and the Wall were the two big titans that stood in my way, but fighting the Eye of Cthulhu would actually get us the Dryad. And the Dryad sells us planter boxes, giving us an infinite supply of platforms we can use for arenas. But the only two ways to fight the Eye of Cthulhu would be to wait for an evil presence, or to find the summoning underground chests with a 1 in 5 chance, just like the Desert Medallion. Fishing is also another thing we can do to get some useful items, but the only 3 rods we can get right now are the fiberglass fishing pole, a very rare jungle chest item, the sitting ducks fishing pole, sold by the travelling merchant after Skeletron, and the mechanics rod, sold by the mechanic. Going for the fiberglass rod would tie into getting the Eye of Cthulhu summoned because both can be found in jungle chests. But on the other hand, we could just power blitz Skeletron, get the mechanics rod, and call it a day, saving all of that time exploring the jungle. What I decided to do right now was summon in Skeletron at the very least. Yeah, you're fast. This gives us the Dungeon Curse, allowing us to summon Skeletron wherever and whenever we want. So it'll probably be easier if I go to the desert, cause June Rider Boots and sand. This attack's gonna be slightly problematic because I don't have platforms and I can't fly yet. What this entire situation boils down to is, do I treat this as a skill issue, keep trying Skeletron till I beat him, which will probably take a long time, or do I play it safe, spend an equally as long time preparing for Skeletron and beat him that way? Well, for starters, this attack is very difficult to dodge without platforms or wings. We could get away with a Featherfall potion, but that doesn't change the fact that our DPS is in the gutter. The Perfect Dark can't reach Skeletron's head, and the Scourge of the Desert just can't pierce through his high defense. So the only option I have left is to explore the underground jungle, potentially find the Eye of Cthulhu summon or the fiberglass fishing pole, and discuss potential strategies with chat. I just want to point out that if it wasn't for chat, I wouldn't have known we'd be able to use the Valhalla Knight armor. Sometimes seeing other opinions, even if they're not great, can really help you reframe your own. Oh, okay. I mean, it's not like she can even do half of her attacks because there's no space. Never mind, she can. Oh no. I don't want to lose my money. Oh, Goblin Army here? Man, so much shit is happening. Those 2 shadow orbs I smashed earlier really came back to bite us at a bad time. Beating the Goblin Army will add a third objective to our underground exploration, finding the Goblin Tinkerer. In a run like this, where our loadout is going to be straight dirt most of the time, getting the utmost potential out of good reforges is going to be an immense help for us. So I'll happily share my feat finder revenue with the Goblin. Damn, that was a quick Goblin Army. I thought that would have taken longer. That's perfect angle. Yes. Minecart. Jackpot. You can get some serious mileage with these. Bruh! There really isn't much to speak about when it comes to my expedition, it was just same old same old. It didn't take me too long to find the Goblin Tinkerer, but chat reminded me of a little weapon known as the boomstick. There's the boomstick. Actually, that is big. That is good. That's okay, what? A chest on crispy honey. After a good 45 minutes of exploring the jungle, I found the Vernal Pass, the boomstick, the Goblin Tinkerer, but nothing else I was looking for. So for the time being, I decided to work with the things I did get. Why is the mini shark so expensive to reforge? I reforged all my weapons and accessories up to standard, and this was also after the Hog Wild update. So I noticed a couple differences with the modifiers. Nothing drastic though. Alright, I'll give Skeletron a go. Let's see how we do. Damage is not that good. Wow. Oh, got it. Yes, that was so close. I bought the mini shark for this boss since the spread of the boomstick would have been ineffective on the tiny ass skull. And I was slowly becoming more consistent with the attack I struggled with. I've got it down to a science, a little bit. I actually got Skeletron down to the second phase on this attempt, so I was more than expecting a win here. That's bad. Really bad. That's so bad. I had more than enough practice to get through the first phase without trouble, but the second phase introduces a new attack which, let's just say, I cannot dodge. Without lightning boots or a pair of wings, there is just simply no way. But, in actuality, we don't need to dodge it. So much I can do for that attack. I'll just have to tank it, which I can do. I'm guaranteed at least one hit every time Skeletron does this attack, no discussion. But as long as I can no-hit all the other attacks, then I would have recovered enough by then to take another hit, eliminate the things out of my control, and focus on the things I can control. Not much I can do for that. One thing that helped me out quite a bit here though was using a Featherfall potion, which lets me glide through the fireballs as if I had wings. That was an awkward one. Oh no. No, I'm good. Oh! To my surprise, Skeletron didn't take as much practice as I would have thought, since his attacks stay basically the same throughout the whole fight. But anyways, now having him defeated, we gain access to good weaponry, and also something that I didn't anticipate, the Dryad. Yes, Dryad! Okay, so you don't need to do the eye, you just need to do one of the bosses. Turns out, beating any 3 of the original bosses, the Eye of Cthulhu, Eater of Worlds, or Skeletron will actually get the Dryad to spawn. And I originally thought it was only the Eye of Cthulhu, so now we can buy planter boxes. What do planter boxes do for us? Why have I been waiting to get them for the whole run? Find out after I nick the bones from these skeletons. No, don't touch. Yes, good. So back to the good weaponry I mentioned, no crafts are required to open any of the dungeon chests, and by extension we don't need to craft to open the shadow chests. Mechanics rod! Yes! Meaning that we can face the wall of flesh with on-tier weaponry. This is big for a challenge like this. Perfect. There's my Unreal? Okay, there's my main weapon. Although I need wooden arrows. We're wearing the best armor we can possibly obtain, our accessories are optimized to a decent degree, and our weaponry is on par. We've got a good fighting chance against the wall of flesh. The fact I haven't encountered a single voodoo demon yet. That's kind of scary. I don't like that. Matter of fact, not being able to craft sticky dynamite is more of a loss than not being able to craft proper gear. At least for right now. In fact, weaponry is such a non-issue right now, I even noticed we can buy the M1 Garand from the arms dealer. Oh! The M1 Garand? Never used it before, but I'm a fiend for guns in Terraria, so it was an easy cop. Anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Remember how I mentioned planter boxes? You likely already know, but they can be used as a substitute, if not replacement entirely for arena platforms. They do cost a silver a piece, but for this challenge, that's a baby price tag. The fact we even have an infinite source of platforms in this run is a miracle. Okay, yeah, without a doubt, I'm ready for war. I've got water walking potions, featherfall, major food buff. Alright, let's just get this over with. After clearing out most of the underworld houses and building a few platforms here and there, I decided to give the wall of flesh a test run with a water walking potion for the lava and a featherfall so I can float. That's bad. Nah, it's fine. What I'm hoping the featherfall will do is let me glide through the lasers later on in the fight. And with the sheer damage the Amon Garand is dealing, we should get an eye to pop in no time. Adrenaline, wow. That's bad. That's really bad. Nah, that's fine. Granted, this is Infernum Wall of Flesh, easier than Death Mode, but even without a platform, we were still kind of killing it on the first attempt. Here goes. The featherfall potion I downed really was working in my favour here. But no. That was a mistake on my part. The nice smooth terrain of the Brimstone Crags was swiftly coming to a close and we were approaching the normal underworld. I tried here to hold on for dear life, but I just got completely juggled by the wall's lasers. The terrain was a bit jagged there, but at the same time, I was choking badly. And with the weapons I've got right now, I can hardly say this is anything other than a skill issue. But maybe a layer of platforms would do us some good. Right now though, all I can really do is ponder these questions as I spend fucking ages farming for another voodoo demon. Every other boss summon in the game is non-consumable and absolute piss to obtain. Why is it that these are so hard? And to rub barbecue sauce in the wound too, Infernum literally has a craftable wall of flesh summon that is non-consumable. Anyways, eventually I got my goods and gave the boss another attempt. Once again with the water walking and featherfall combo. Oh, don't hit him. Oh damn, it hit me once. Sure enough, I got back to the same point in the fight and I was ready to tear even further into it. This is really bad. Bruh, chill. Oh man. But it seemed that my base Hermes boots were literally not fast enough to outpace the wall. I could dodge mostly fine, but the wall was literally just riding me the whole time. I spent the next half an hour in what I'd call a voodoo demon psychosis. I'd spend an exorbitant amount of time waiting for voodoo demons to spawn, then immediately go back and fight a wall of flesh, get through the first chapter completely fine, get to the final phase, and then just be completely overwhelmed due to my lack of speed and also severe lack of arena prep. I'm so annoyed. I was about to scream the word fuck when it's 10 o'clock at night. I probably shouldn't. Rather than continuously bashing my head against the wall, I decided to take a break for now and try again the next day. And I could also get a better summon weapon. There's the Staff of Necrio or something from the dungeon. Yeah, the Dank Staff from the Hive Mind. I knew that, given enough attempts, I could probably eventually brute force my way through the fight, but after that good sleep, I decided to swallow my pride and expand my arena. Which is boring, but will significantly improve my chances of winning this fight. So I knew that in my refreshed mind, this was the correct thing to do. As for the new summon weapon I mentioned, there's the Staff of Necriostites, which drops some dungeon enemies, but it's a ground summon, which likely won't be able to reach the Wall of Flesh, so I went for the Dank Staff in the end. Okay, give me Dank Staff. Ah. Yes, Dank Staff. Perfect. The Dank Staff's basically an upgraded Brittle Star, so it's objectively better for us. So with that and the new patented Reg W Quick Planter Box Arena, our chances should be miles light years better. And who would have thought all you need is just a good arena? And the fact I think I actually no-hit that. If the two people in chat, if you're willing, run that back and see if I took a hit. Okay, yeah, on that attempt I was just cracked, but seriously, the arena helps out so much, especially for the final phase. I solemnly swear to you, never neglect your arenas, and do what I say, not what I do. Anyways, like I always say, early hard mode is the most open portion of this game, but since we're a scavenger, it's gonna be even more open. Crafting is the primary source from which you obtain gear, and without that, we're gonna have to obtain gear from every single other source possible. One of which turning out to be surprisingly useful thus far, NPC items. Screw it, I want it. Not only did the Wall of Flesh drop the Clockwork Assault Rifle, but we just bought the P90 from the arms dealer, which, I'll be honest, I completely forgot you can buy. We can't get any upgraded bullets of course, but even still, these are some very solid single target options. Oh, would you look at that, a desert medallion in this chest. Imagine we found that. Anyways, as we were pondering the multitude of options we have in early hard mode, I decided to get the Sunken Steed pylon out the way.
Pylon. Yeah.
For once in a Calamity playthrough, Queen Slime is actually the boss we need to fight right now. Much like King Slime dropping the Ninja set, she drops the Crystal Assassin set, which is a big ass upgrade to our Ancient Shadow set. And all I need to do to fight her is mine one little baby crystal in the Underground Hallow. I am not smart going into this boss straight away with barely any preparations, but that's not why you watch me, is it? I tested out Queen Slime a little bit before I officially started this challenge, with much worse gear mind you, and I was actually getting pretty close to the end of the fight. So with the goodies we've got right now, I don't see this fight posing much of a threat. Okay, that was my- oh my, what am I doing? It's bad. I was a bit rusted because I hadn't attempted the boss in a while, but all in all, things weren't too bad. Like always, I can dodge the individual attacks flawlessly, but I just forget which attacks come after the other, so situations like this end up happening. I managed to correct my movement here, but trust me, I failed to that attack so many times simply by being caught off guard by it. Either way, I got it down eventually, and the first phase was naught but a summer breeze, although the fight still had more to offer. Normally to dodge that, you just run in a straight line with lightning boots, but with our base Hermes boots, we are simply not fast enough. And with our P90 dealing much less than optimal damage against the boss, it's a guarantee we're going to be facing that attack multiple times in a single fight. We're in the exact same predicament here that we had with Skeletron. We need to get good at all the easy attacks so we can tank the hard one. But being a hard mode boss and having hard mode boss damage, the stakes are quite a bit higher here. This is getting really dire. Oh! Bruh. Wow. Ahaha! After getting that close on the second attempt, I could not give up here. So I kept grinding out the Queen Slime, slowly getting more efficient at her main attacks, but still getting shredded to pieces every time she did her ult. This was absolutely possible. I was still just slimy behind the ears. Oh no. At bare minimum, I needed to get through this attack 3 times in a single fight, so practice was needed here. That was great, that was so good. Or more like, should I say, half practice, half fluke. I scored my first dub against the Queen Slime, so I was happy for the time being, but there is a problem though. Only 2 pieces of Crystal Assassin armor drop at a time, so for the full set, I need to beat her again. And since getting the final piece I need isn't guaranteed, I could be beating her multiple times. But I've already bested her once, so what's another 2 or 3 goes? I understood how to get past that difficult attack now, so the next victory came on the very next attempt. There we go, let Queen Slime easy. Now give me the chest piece. Wait, is it? Yeah. There we go. Next set of armor until post-mex probably, and it gives you stealth, so I could use rogue. With Queen Slime out of the way, I've now seriously thrusted myself into the thick of early hard mode. There were so many different avenues I could go down at this point, and I had a sort of plan of action too. But for now, I decided to bite the bullet and finally get the fledgling wings. That was so blisteringly quick, I'm so glad. I'm so glad I got these that quickly. Since I can't actually make the Spectre boots or any of the upgrades, I'm just gonna use rocket boots with Cryogen can't be fought, Brimmy can't be fought, Aquatic Scourge basically can't be fought, so our only options here are the free mechs and Plantera. Not being able to craft a summon leaves us with only 2 ways to actually fight the mechs. The first being the random chance every night, much like the Eye of Cthulhu, which is very, very inconsistent. And the second being the 1 in 2500 chance for any enemy to drop a random mech summon, provided you haven't fought them before. Keep in mind, those are the same odds as getting a biome key, but what other choice do we have? Plantera would be much more convenient to fight due to the infinitely renewable summons in the Vernal Pass, but with our very subpar weaponry right now and our main mobility being fledgling wings combined with rocket boots, we probably wouldn't stand a chance. Beating one mech, any one mech, allows a steampunker to move in, which would let us buy the jetpack, which with the dash from the Crystal Assassin set bonus I forgot to mention, would give us on-par mobility enough to fight Plantera and have a standing chance. So, with that being said, here is what I did. First thing, every single day I would do the Angler quest to slowly level up my fishing gear, and also obtain some quality of life items like the Enchanted Sundial. which won't help out with the mech since it skips straight to dawn, but it will help out with fishing quests.
Gift to you for the award. Oh, sonar potion. Yes.
I also remembered the existence of a grapple hook obtained from fishing in the Sunken Sea, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but is probably the best hook obtainable in this run. After each fishing quest, I'd go to the jungle, gradually max out my health with life roots, and farm as many enemies as possible, not only in the hopes of getting a mech summon, but also the Spiker or the Uzi. No way! I had a couple pirate maps lying around, so I did the pirate invasion to kill some time. Sadly, from the two of them, I emerged with no mech summons, but I did get a butt ton of furniture though, which is great if I want to make any houses in the future. So I went back to the jungle, and spent a long time in there, running a Turkish barber fade on every single enemy within my line of sight, while I slowly carved out the arena I'd be using for Plantera. If you've ever played an incremental game in your life, you've probably heard of the term Time War. What I'm experiencing right now is the exact definition of that. All I can do here is wait for luck to be on my side, so I decided to wait as efficiently as possible.
Uzi. Okay. That's gonna be real good.
And after multiple hours spent within the jungle, and tens upon tens of fishing quests,
you just dropped the entire Angelus set, okay. Oh, yes, okay.
It was a mechanical worm,
So there's a spiteful candle.
the summon for by far the hardest mech, which I will not be able to beat with the gear I've got right now. The summon I really want is the mechanical eye for the twins, since that's the boss I'm the most experienced with. But Skeletron Prime could work too.
Prime summon? Yes. Prime, I guess I'll try. Because Prime is one of the mechs that's actually possible right now.
Having literally nothing else to do right now except repeat that same monotonous grind for another hour or two to get the twin summon, I decided to go and try for Skeletron Prime. For any mech, fledgling wings and rocket boots are not going to be fast enough to cut it, but I'm going to have to make them cut through. Luckily enough, the first phase is actually pretty easy with some good grapple tech, and the cursed dagger I got was actually dealing formidable damage against the boss. I was cutting it very close towards the end of the first phase, but I managed to pull through. Okay, it's possible. This attack, as you would have guessed, is no issue at all, but his dash attack is a completely different story. Remember, fledgling wings and rocket boots.
Oh, why did you do that?
But I found that maybe I'd overestimated how bad on mobility it would be. I built multiple layers of platforms going into this fight, which combined with the grapple hook I got from the Sunken Sea was pulling some heavy weight. And I even found a way to kind of cheese the dash attack by just falling through the platforms.
Perfect amount of platforms for it.
The sheer amount of space we had also made the blender attack kind of effortless too.
Oh no. That's pretty bad. If I get hit once, I'm gone. Well. Again. Ah, it was such a good run.
You know me, I have one good attempt, I get hooked on the adrenaline, and I grind out the boss till I beat it.
I pulled that off, that's insane. Sure. Oh no.
I don't believe it. I can't believe we actually beat Skeletron Prime that easily. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a challenge than that, but damn. In this run, the mech we beat does not matter one bit. It's just the simple fact that we beat one of the mechs. Meaning that the steampunker can move in, and we can buy the jetpack. Reason why? You see these fledgling wings? Not anymore, baby. Less importantly, the demolitionist now sells a new gun, which turned out to be worse than the cursed dagger, so that was pointless. I'm going for the gold.
I'm wasting all my money for something so useless. I've got such a gambler's mind. There we go, menacing. I'll take it.
But most importantly, we have now made every single preparation possible to face Plantera, the big bad that's been looming over us since we beat the Wall of Flesh, the gateway into the next tier of progression.
Yeah, cursed dagger actually seems like it's better. And has the curse debuff too, so...
If you fought Infernum Plantera before, you will know that the first phase is completely free. The second phase, however...
can actually fly for a decent amount of time. Enough the hard part.
The main thing I was afraid of going into this battle was Plantera's dash attack. At this point in progression, the All-Nate Shield is obtainable, giving you your first ram dash. But with our one dash option being the Crystal Assassin set bonus, our only option here is to kite around Plantera, which ended up being shockingly effective. As long as you're mindful of the spores and you make a tight circle around Plantera, you can easily juke her dashes and dodge the seeds she fires too. I'd still slip up and take a hit occasionally, but I was consistent enough to get through this just fine.
Problem is I've got... ah, fuck! Oh no, this attack. I don't know what you do for this. Oh no.
I made it through somehow. Okay, but I don't know how many more times she's gonna do that, which is a slight problem. Plantera's final phase was the glaring issue here. I hadn't quite learned her attack patterns yet. Holy... Oh. Forgot I had the rod. Yes, I finally remembered I had the rod. Plantera traps you in a volley of green seeds, then fires a burst of pink seeds towards your direction. I was slowly carving out a path through this attack attempt after attempt, but I can't really put into words how you're meant to dodge it. Just like with Queen Slime though, our subpar damage means we're going to be facing this attack multiple times in one fight, so I'm going to need to get consistent. Bruh. Okay. I held this L till the very next day, letting the attack patterns consolidate in my mind. Now that's good, I'm ready to take on the plant now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna die here, because this attack. Rod of Discord really does save ya. Oh, but why do you shoot more though? To help out even more in terms of gear, I went to another Crimson World, fought the Brain of Cthulhu, and equipped the Brain of Confusion. I'm at a big disadvantage here, so I want every single advantage I can get my hands on. But, of course, at the end of the week, there is no advantage like skill. Oh, you just love to see it, don't you? You just love to see it, man. Oh, you just love to see it, don't you? Plantera, you are a fun fight. You are a very fun fight. I've bested you. 5-minute fight is kind of insane, even for Infernum Plantera. We are now post Plantera, and in typical craftless fashion, the routes I take to get gear are unique as always. We can't fight Astromorius in this challenge, and not only does Leviathan and Anahita drop nothing of value, they are also going to be incredibly hard without a ram dash. Golem on the contrary is insanely easy in Infernum, so right now my goal is to find a decent enough weapon to take out Golem with. I forgot! Biome chests. Scourge of the Corruptor is going to be my new main weapon. Corruption chest. My destiny has been fulfilled, I can leave now. It goes long, it goes far, and it locks onto the enemy's arse. It is the Scourge of the Corruptor. With this in my hands, I really don't need anything else in preparation for Golem. In fact, I don't think there really is anything else I can get. So, oh, the X, wow. Okay, that's a better hammer. Okay, anyways, Infernum Golem, I hope to first try this boss. And I've got probably the best weapon for him too. There really isn't much to comment on with Golem's fight, so I'll just let you enjoy this. A nice peaceful moment before the shitstorm that is yet to come. Ooh, close one. Oh, second phase already, wow. Look at that. And adrenaline too. Alright, so you can kind of tell the attack he does based on the color of his eyes. I only just noticed that. That's really interesting. If they're blue, I know if they're blue, then he does the spear attack, but... Okay, so if they're green, he does this one. So interesting. Nearly got adrenaline charged up again, too. Oh, now for an actual hard attack. Nice! Look at that. I'm too good. I don't know what red means. Oh, a stat. You're dead anyways. Oh, well. I love Golem in Infernum. You thought Plantera was the dividing line in hard mode progression? You would be wrong. It's actually Golem. Final non-craftable pickaxe upgrade of the game. We're gonna need to craft some pickaxes post-Moonlord. With Golem out of the picture, there are a plethora of bosses we can face next, with varying usefulness of their drops. But I will say, this is going to prove to be challenging, and if you're an Old Ones Army fanboy, you're going to be very happy in the next 5 or 10 minutes. With the Possessed Hatchet I luckily ended up getting from Golem, I farmed some money, and then buy the Steampunk Wings. Boom. I don't even need rocket boots anymore, because of the sheer, 3 seconds of flight time, the sheer flight time we have now. At this point in progression, I could just rush the cultist, get the pillars done, and go straight into Moonlord. But for one, there are many more preparations I can make beforehand, and also there's something I didn't mention about Moonlord, but I think that's best saved until we actually get to the fight. Right now, I could do the tier 3 Old Ones army for my final armor set in the game, the Valhalla Knight set, or I could challenge Duke Fishron for the Fishron wings, the best pre-Moonlord wings, and the Flareon, probably the best pre-Moonlord melee weapon we're gonna get too. It's gonna be a bit difficult. Oh. You do kind of need a ram dash for this, not gonna lie. I'm not really doing that much damage. Without a ram dash, Duke Fishron was a good deal more challenging, but just like Plantera, I was able to juke him in certain directions and evade him that way. Never seen you do that kind of dash before. Okay, here we go. Here's the hard part. Now you're gonna... Oh, I can't dash fast enough for that. Bruh. No. That was a bad move there. Oh, you caught me off guard, you bastard. I could definitely get through this fight given enough trial and error, but I decided to play it safe here and get the old one's army done first so I can get my new armor set. The smart thing to do would have been to do it in pre-hard mode, then post-mech, then blah blah blah. But I'm fucked because I can't buy the sentries without doing the old one's army. I'm gonna get absolutely nowhere with this attempt, not gonna lie. Okay, I beat the wave, but I'm gonna fail. Do I get any medals? Nil. Much akin to Dungeon Defenders 2, you kinda need sentries to fend off the old one's army. If I press that. Okay, yes. We're in sort of business now. Luckily enough, with the Defender medals that the Tavern Keep gives you, I was able to buy a pre-hard mode sentry, which combined with switching to the Paladin's Hammer for better crowd control allowed me to get much further and actually get Defender medals from the army itself. There's nothing I can do. Yeah, it's over, but I got my Defender medals. Oh, Shrek! Why does Infernum rework every mini-boss? Surprisingly enough, I made it to the final wave of only the tier 2 sentry. Betsy, I'm coming. Okay, what's Infernum Betsy like? Huh, dash slop? Who would have thought? That's the Yaren attack. Bugger. And you do the same attack over and over. With these annoying projectiles that I can't see, so I need to change my quality settings. They're still annoying to see, but I can see them a lot better now. Betsy's health was dropping, and mine was too, rapidly. No. That's fine. But she doesn't actually despawn, so I just continued on like nothing ever happened. And sure enough, claimed my victory, got the boatload of Defender medals. Oh, I didn't even notice the Betsy treasure bag. Oh my goodness. And bought the Valhalla Knight armor set. Our final armor set in this challenge. I tested out the weapons I got from Betsy's treasure bag, but none of them really matched the consistency of the possessed hatchet. So that's what I'd be sticking with for Duke Fishron, along with the tier 3 ballista, which I had enough Defender medals to buy. Forgot how busted sentries are in Calamity. Even with the base sentries, like, normally you'd use the hive pod. Final phase. Oh, I'm gonna beat you this attempt, you're so done. Dash slop. Oh, you're fast. Oh boy. Zooey mama. Yes, you're so easy. Wings. Sadly, I didn't get the Fishron wings on the first attempt, but that was a very easy fight, so I wasn't bitter going back into it. Now, I'd like the wings if possible, please, because I'd like to end the stream on the highest note possible. Thank you so much. Now, let's make this quick, buddy. 2 bubble guns, a mythical one, and no flare-on. Yes, flare-on. Oh, best weapon in the game. Let's go. Now having the best possible weapon, armor, and mobility we can get pre-Moonlord, there is nothing else left for us to do except run into this fight full speed. But before the looming threat of the Moonlord, the cultist stands in our path. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get this over with, boy. While the cultist fight plays out in the background, I'll talk about the accessory synergy I've got going on. Of course, I have the Fishron wings for our main mobility, and the Tabai since I no longer have the Crystal Assassin set bonus dash, but I'm also using the B, a pre-hard mode accessory. Any damage taken at full health is cut in half, with a 6-second cooldown. Sounds kind of mediocre on its own, but where the real synergy comes into play is with life regen. The Valhalla Knight chest piece gives us a whopping 4 HP per second life regen, which we can even add on top on with more accessories. After taking half damage at full health, if I can regen all the way back up to full before I get hit the next time, as long as I've got the skill, then that means I'll have effectively 50% damage reduction, which no other item can give you. On top of this, you can add in the Trinket of Chi, giving you 20% damage reduction after not taking damage for 10 seconds. As far as I know, that stacks multiplicatively with other bonuses, so that's 60% damage reduction if you wait an extra 4 seconds. And even if, let's say you get hit twice consecutively and you get too far below full health to regen in time, more often than not you can just chug a health potion and you'll be back up to full in no time. Ah man, okay. So, as long as you're not getting hit too little to the point where you want to go for damage accessories, or getting hit too much to the point where you want to go full tank, this is a perfect happy medium. All I need is, yep, you. Feeling ballsy, let's just get it. That's something I mentioned about Moonlord earlier, it's about time I come clean. If you're smart, you've probably already caught on. Without being able to craft, we can't make the Celestial Sigil, which means yes, every single attempt we do on the Moonlord, we have to go through the Lunatic Cultist and the 4 pillars. In other words, if I fuck up, I have to go through another 15 minutes of monotonous grind just to get another attempt. So I need to make sure every single attempt counts. Oh, the Blender attack. Goodness. Wasn't prepared. I fought Astrum Deus for the Regulus Riot, which may sound weird considering I'm spec'd into melee and that's a rogue weapon, but considering it's on a completely different tier to the Flareon, it could dish out more DPS. Okay, well that's Astrum Deus done, that's the first boss I wanted to do today. Now I open this, okay, good, I got the Regulus Riot, that's what I wanted. Use Trinket of Chi rather than this, that's what I used in my other loadout. With all my preparations set in place, I clear out an arena near spawn for the Moonlord. I love it when it mounts the perfect speed to mine. Then, one by one, take out each of the 4 pillars as I ready myself for what's yet to come. For once in a playthrough, the stakes are actually kinda high. If I die, I have to go through all of the pillars and the cultist again. All I can do is hold faith in my own skill as my impending doom approaches. Do not spawn, do not spawn. Fuck you! Oh my fuck, why? You had one fucking job. I've still got all the width, it's just my height is chopped in half. Basically, need to use rod to dodge that. To get far enough away. Lengthwise. This ain't it. Oh, got heal off. I didn't consider here how quickly the Moonlord spawns in after you take out the 4th pillar. So for the next attempt, I set my wayfinder up right in the very center of my arena. Then, I begrudgingly go through every single step all over again. The Lunatic Cultist, all 4 of the pillars. Also I can get another attempt on the Moonlord, which possibly could fail. And go time. Let's go. Now having an actual arena to work with, I took out the top eye in absolutely no time. Believe me when I say this, I practiced the Moonlord so much for my controller run. I know what I'm doing with this fight, but I'm really gonna need to pull through to compensate for my lack of gear. There goes. The Moonlord was literally seconds away from death. I thought I was just tired at the time, but no, looking back at the footage, I really died to absolutely nothing. Fuck! And that singular blunder would set me back all the way to the Lunatic Cultist. Getting so close to the finish line, so close to the end, only to be sent right back to the start is the worst feeling in the world. All of that progress snapped away in an instant, stripped of its meaning because you're right back where you started from. Go time. You're about to watch me beat the Moonlord. Let's go, boys. That last part isn't necessarily true though. Your progress would only be stripped of its meaning if you gave up. And it's not that I'm not one to give up, I'm more so just stubborn really, but they're the same thing. Outplayed, baby! Oh yeah. Words couldn't describe the despair I felt every time I knew I had to slog through the lunar events all over again. But words also can't describe how fucking amazing I feel after beating this guy. Oh, I'm good. Hell yeah. For once I'm actually gonna place down the relics. They deserve to be placed this time, that was a good fight. So first things first, I didn't actually get the Lunar Portal Star from Moonlord itself, which is sad, but there is a sentry weapon you can get from some of the guys down here, the profaned enemies. I was kind of bewildered after beating Moonlord so quickly, because I didn't really have much of an idea of what I could do post-Moonlord. Obviously, getting an easy to obtain post-Moonlord weapon like the Sanctified Spark would be great for us, especially since we're running a sentry build. 100 mana? Why does that cost 100 mana? But more importantly, being that I'm post-Moonlord now, the horse in the dining room, progression is locked behind crafting, behind multiple crafts. I had a good idea of the things I needed to craft to beat the game, to fight Escal and the Exomechs, but I hadn't yet made a fully concrete route, considering I need to be as efficient as possible with my crafts. So I decided for the rest of this stream to clean up every last thing I can do without crafting. Since the Sanctified Spark needs 100 mana to use, I was pretty much going to need to max out my mana, which is surprisingly possible in a run like this. Calamity adds a fish called the Enchanted Starfish, with a 10% chance to catch on the surface at nighttime. There we go. 2 more left. Why any player would actually go for these in a normal run is beyond me, but for a run like this, these are a godsend. With this mana upgrade, I could finally summon in all 5 of the sentries, which I used to then destroy all the remaining bosses I could fight without crafting. Yeah, you're gonna die before you get to do Sun. That's so sweet. Yes! Okay. No way I'm dying to Leviathan. There is no way. Oh, okay, you just slide cancelled? Sure. Leviathan in particular, I ended up fighting more than once since I wanted the community, which would be an actual decent accessory in this run. Nice, there we go. Now I never have to fight you again. As I mentioned earlier too, Moonlord also has a few more weapons he can drop, so I went back to fight him again. This time being made much easier with the pillars only needing 50 kills rather than 100, and the unironically insane damage of the Sanctified Spark. Yes! Yes! Double yes! And the Star Wrath too. That's everything I want from the Moonlord. Well, you're probably wondering why I'm just fishing in the ocean. There's a reason, a good reason, but before I get to that, there are many things I have to explain. Consider this a part 2 of the video. I've gotten as far as I possibly can without crafting, beating the Moonlord, which in vanilla is synonymous with beating the entire game. But now, alas, the only way to move forward is to craft. So my new primary objective is to beat the rest of Calamity in the smallest amount of crafts possible. But how exactly will that work? I'll be using 2 separate counters as I go along, one for normal crafting and one for shimmer, aka decrafting. Those 2 counters will add together at the end of the playthrough and result in a grand total. My goal is to get that grand total as small as possible. I started with the 2 ultimate items I'll be needing, the Altar of the Accursed and the Auric Quantum Calling Cell. Then worked my way down to the recipes of those items, the prerequisites of those recipes, and even the crafting stations you need to craft those recipes in the first place. With the help of some geniuses who randomly showed up in my chat, I have meticulously routed the entire rest of Calamity, using as little craft as hypothetically possible. So let's find out how many crafts it takes to beat Calamity's Infernum mode. How many bass am I gonna get over? Oh my fuck, what is this shit? I have 300 fishing power in Rise of Kingdoms, and you're giving me bass. You have some severe problem. The fishing I was doing in the ocean a minute ago was primarily for crates. Oh, yes, more mithril, okay. Which, at a small chance, can give you hard mode ores, and more importantly, hard mode bars. I'll be needing 20 mithril / or a calcum bars for some upcoming items, so getting them this way saves me a good 20 crafts. In fact, I also saved another 10 crafts here when a chat member told me you can get Hellstone bars from the Hell Lab. Okay, I'm guessing right here is the Hellstone. Holy shit. Sadly, there were only 5 bars placed down out of the 10 I was gonna need, so I was prepared to do some world hopping, until they told me you can also get Hellstone from Crag's chests. Oh, you can just open them? Wow. Oh, you can even get Obsidian water walking boots. Now, it's been long enough, so I really should just get to the meat and potatoes. The first craft of this challenge, the codebreaker base. One craft has been done. To fight the Exomechs and thus beat the game, we'll be needing the entire codebreaker line, so there are a long chain of crafts we're gonna have to do. Which is why I decided to immediately go into the next craft, the decryption computer. It contains glass in its recipe, which luckily you can find in some of the Drayden labs. However, that glass is eutrophic glass, which for some reason does not work as a crafting material. So the only way we'll be able to craft a decryption computer is if we can somehow get our hands on normal glass. The first thing you'll immediately think of is probably shimmer. However, to keep the final total low, we need to also keep our number of shimmers low. So, believe me, I searched and searched through the wiki, seeing if any naturally generated structures had any glass. Okay, no glass in there, that's sad. So, accepting failure in that regard, I look through all of the things glass can craft into to see if there's any shimmer loopholes we can do. Wait, I could shimmer these schematics? I doubt it would work. Oh, okay, it does, that is big. That is big, 50 glass with one item. The very schematics we'll be decrypting can actually be shimmered into 50 glass, normal glass that you can actually craft with. If you didn't know, Calamity schematics can actually be crafted if you've already picked them up once in a world, which I guess is a failsafe in case you lose them, but I don't know how you ever would. Either way, this oversight allows us to obtain a massive 50 glass, allowing us to not only craft a decryption computer, but also the advanced display later on. Next up is the long-range sensor array, which say that 10 times fast. On top of needing the 10 mithril bars for the recipe, you also need 10 for the hard mode anvil used to craft it. This is +1 craft. And then another craft. The next piece of the codebreaker would be the advanced display. However, that requires life alloys, which, let's just say, is going to be complicated. Life alloys are crafted from perennial, cryonic, and scoria bars, which themselves respectively will also take a long chain of crafts, which is why it's awesome that you can literally just fight Ravager and get life alloys from him. Ravager's summon, the Death Whistle, will only take 1 craft to make since it doesn't have any craftable materials, saving a lot of crafts in comparison to manually crafting life alloys, so that's 13 life alloys in total. But what if I told you there's a way to fight Ravager, and potentially other bosses too, without crafting their summons?
Yes, Blood Moon. Okay, let's go. Oh, that's a mechanical eye summon. That's a mechanical eye. We can fight as wins.
I'd like to introduce to you the wild card of this run, added in the Hog Wild update. Oh, piss off, Drayden. I don't want your cutscene.
Shady salesman, there we go.
The trusty old rod.
That's the one I want.
The trusty rod is a new fishing rod bought from the wandering salesman. At a glance, it's normal, but has the gimmick of having a 33% chance to spawn enemies when you fish. The enemies that spawn come from a predetermined table, with a common, uncommon, and rare tier. Each time the gimmick of this fishing rod triggers, you have a 1 in 100 chance to get the rare tier, and on the rare tier, you can spawn bosses. No joke, you can spawn Providence with this thing, you can spawn the Hive Mind with this thing, and most importantly for us as of right now, you can spawn Ravager. This is literally earth-shattering. Not only will this save us 1 craft from Ravager's summon, but this will also save us crafting the Profane Shard since we can just skip the Profane Guardians altogether. In a dream world, this is great, but there are some glaring issues with it, so we need to get hypothetical. Infernum Providence needs to be fought in her arena, and unlocking that arena requires beating the Guardians. So naturally, I just summon in Providence outside of the arena. Oh, you really can just fight her any way you want. What would happen here? She's just... Maybe she'll come out after the fact. Okay, she despawns. Fishing up Infernum Providence simply would not work, meaning that Calamity in Death Mode could be beaten in less crafts than Calamity in Infernum. So, what am I to do here? Well, this is a complex issue. I was expecting some difficulty when I routed this run, but now there's been some anomalies thrown into the mix. I believe the only way I can go forward with this video now is to go in a more hypothetical direction, with the focus being on the theoretical minimum crafts possible, with the run itself being more of a proof of concept. I'm still going to be beating the entire game, and the only things I can craft are boss summons, so it's going to be challenging in its own right. It's just that, practically, this run is simply beyond my grasp. Maybe I could pass the torch on to someone else. Back to life alloys. The Ravager is one of the bosses that can be fished up with the trusty old rod, however, you can only do this in a blood moon on the surface. I'd spent 2 entire blood moons at this point just straight fishing for this boss, with no result. And I was so fucking bored to the point where I'd run the game in a multiplayer server so I could tab out and play Portal while I wait for nighttime again. We'd need 3 life alloys for the advanced display, but I also didn't mention that we'd need 10 life alloys for Yaren's summon, so that's 13 life alloys in total. Each Ravager we do, assuming it's pre-Providence, has a 50% chance to drop life alloys, so that's roughly 26 Ravagers we'll need to fight, and after 2 whole blood moons, I haven't gotten a single one to spawn. Safe to say, there is no way in any life, in any universe that I am farming for this manually. Maybe someone would, maybe someone like Chief Logan, but I respect my free time, so no thank you. I play games to have fun, and these challenges are actually pretty fun, like, I find them fun and interesting in an autistic way. But this is just not it. I'll use 2 final crafting counters now, one for the hypothetical minimum crafts possible, and one for the amount of crafts I beat a game in. Oh! Yo! It works! That took so long! Seeing that Ravager is at least hypothetically possible to fight this way, I concede another craft to the Death Whistle. bringing my craft counter one higher than the theoretical minimum. That's 2. 3. Now I can make the next craft, advanced display. What I was doing right now is crafting every single little thing I can possibly craft before I move on to the next tier of progression. Next craft, adamantite forge. In case if I hear of any more groundbreaking revelations or optimizations when it's too late. So as far as I know, there's no actual way to get luminite bars without crafting the bars from the ore. So that's 5 crafts plus the item itself that I have to concede. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 crafts for the profane shard. That was a lot of waffle. But worry not, this run is about to get exciting, since we have a straight shot from profane guardians all the way to devourer of gods. So get ready for a good old boss rush. I don't think this is going to be too difficult. Providence might be a little bit, but this should be doable, just about. Oh, that's going to take a little while. It's the sentries that are going to carry. No RAM might be an issue. There are some attacks that need a RAM to be, like, properly done. Okay, the Guardian heal is actually going down really quickly. We're in business now, we're in the second phase, basically. What am I doing? I'd say our survivability and damage were roughly up to standard for this point in progression, especially with the sentries basically carrying our DPS. Movement, however, with only the fish on wings is an issue. Flight time is not an issue considering this boss and Providence both give you infinite flight, but I'm used to being a lot more agile with the Lunatia wings. On top of this, having no ram dash meant I needed to be crafty to dodge certain attacks. That's the way. Oh no. Nice. I'm glad I got to the final phase already. Oh no, not sun. That's really bad. Okay, then go down. Outplayed, baby! Oh yeah. That was mad easy for no reason. I was expecting that to be so much harder. All things considered, our gear is pretty bougie at this point, but I was expecting the Guardians to put up more of a challenge. So maybe Providence can provide us with that. Damn, I'm not good at this first phase. Never have been. Yeah, I'm just gonna use Miami. It seems to be more consistent. And way less annoying to use. I don't have the horizontal speed to dodge that. Oh. This again? Really? If you spend long enough, it just goes into... Oh, never mind, okay. Second phase. Now we can actually... Infernum Providence first phase is... it's fun, it's cute, but the second phase is where she really blazes a blaze of... I don't know where I was going with that. I'm so slow. That's right, okay, I saw someone just do this for this phase. You just kind of circle Providence. That seems to be working so much better than what I was doing before. Oh no, this attack. Fireballs? No, spears. Crosses, easy. Let's get it. Those look different. Well, I do not have the speed for this, you need a lot of speed. Nah, I'm good though. That's really bad. Sun could be the death of me. Got a heal. Look at that. Oh shit. Yeah, Sun is really bad. Oh. Yeah, I got this fight. Could do it tonight. If not, then I'll just like focus tomorrow. I think I've used up quite a bit of my focus already today. I need to recharge. Crosses already. My heart is racing. My heart is actually racing. My heart is racing! Oh! I forgot Providence dies earlier too. Oh wow. I don't believe it was that easy. Nah, I'm just too good. I'm just too good at this game now. I've had the practice. In only 4 short attempts, with a 6-minute and 23-second fight, Providence falls. Maybe I really have grown accustomed to Infernum. I need a minute to like just cool down. That was intense. On the 4th try? Wild. Elysian Aegis. That is a given, we need to use that. These are going to be our final wings until Yaren, and this is going to be our final dash of the game. In terms of boss progression, the next 3 up are the Sentinels, whose drops we need to craft and summon for the Devourer of Gods. But to cap this stream off, I decided to take care of some of the lighter tasks, since beating Providence allows us to craft another upgrade for the codebreaker. Now this thing needs Luminite, so that's another 5 crafts we're going to have to concede. And also Eulabloom bars, which there's nothing we can do about that. But you may be wondering, how are we going to mine Eulabloom? You need a solar pickaxe or better, and we've only got a pick saw. The thing is, you don't need to mine Eulabloom. Once you beat in Providence, you just pull up to the jungle, and then I guess with a bit of luck, you'll get Eulabloom slimes. Yes, there we go. First Eulabloom slime. That's 5. That's another 5. 10 crafts total. I make the voltage regulation system, taking 11 crafts in total. That is a big boy. With that upgrade out of the way, a chat member also reminded me there's a post-Providence sentry you can get in the crags. Oh, why did I just fling for no reason? Luckily, I got the sentry to drop so quickly, I didn't even have time to beat a single chamber and portal. Ah! Sentry! That's quick. Once again, in combination with our sentry-oriented loadout, the Guidelight of Oblivion is going to be our primary source of DPS. Moving on though, I'm probably going to be AFK for long enough to actually beat Portal. And why is that? Well, it starts with Yaren Summon, the Blessed Phoenix Egg. Yaren Summon requires Effulgent Feathers, which are primarily dropped from Dragon Folly, so we'd have to concede at least another craft to Dragon Folly Summon. Except no, we don't. The minions Dragon Folly summons in the fight, the Draconic Swarmers, also drop Effulgent Feathers. And for some reason, they can naturally spawn, albeit very rarely, in the jungle. Information about them on the wiki is sparse at best, but I was still willing to give this a shot, and I had Portal to keep me company. I spent a good 10 to 15 minutes AFKing in the surface jungle, and I had yet to even see a single Draconic Swarmer. Maybe I could use a Blood Moon to increase the spawns. So I decided to build a farm in the sky, using lizard bricks to make an artificial jungle. Maybe it needs to be jungle grass. I think I'm hearing some jungle enemies. Yeah, okay, sweet, there's turtles. That should be good enough. Now if I sleep and wait, then should get some spawns soon enough. I spent a good while here, long enough for me to beat GLaDOS and finish Portal. I went to go brush my teeth, put my gym jams on and wrap up the stream, but then someone showed up. In fact, a Blood Moon happened the following night, and quite a few Draconic Swarmers showed up. Another Draconic Swarmer, damn. Now having more than enough Effulgent Feathers for Yaren Summon, that concludes everything I need to craft post-Providence. So now the only thing remaining to do is blitz the 3 Sentinels, and the Devourer of Gods. Stormweaver was obviously the first choice here since it's the easiest out of the 3 Sentinels, and would basically serve as a warm-up for the 2 more difficult ones. This might be a long fight, although the weapons I'm using aren't exactly optimized. I can't let this fight speak for the other ones, but Stormweaver's first phase is just effortless. Oh, that's a bad one. See, the cold I have is really affecting my brain. I could be using Lunar Portal Staff, and that would probably be absolutely destroying this boss right now. But then again, we're doing just fine. It's not like we're gonna fail right now. Oh, okay. So for the next attempt, I used the Lunar Portal Staff to speed things up a bit, and... Oh, that is visual... It certainly dealt a lot more damage, but had the added side effect of being a ton of visual clutter on the screen. No, I'm low, I could die. I really didn't need an upgrade at this point, but I had one more idea as to how we could deal more damage. Yeah, that's better than the Meowmere. That's doing a bit more DPS. Yes! Look at that, we are nuking this guy at 24,000 DPS. Even without any ranged armor, and using cluster rockets instead of mini nukes, the Celebration Mark II still absolutely pummeled this boss. And thus, with nothing useful coming from the treasure bag, we move on to the second easiest sentinel, Cygnus. Okay, maybe I need something homing. I don't have anything homing though. This sucks, I can't hit him, he keeps teleporting. I did actually get one weapon from Stormweaver, the Sky-Tide Dragoon, but seeing how it performs, I'd rather they just kept the Storm Dragoon. Alright, I forget every time. Normally my Cygnus fights go by so quickly, I don't even have a chance to learn the boss, but in this run we were dealing piddly damage. Okay, I'm starting to think Guidelight of Oblivion just isn't that good. And with no other standout upgrades on this tier, we were just gonna have to shape up and get good. Cygnus is one of those Infernum bosses with randomized attack cycles, so not only do I have to learn how to properly dodge each attack, but also learn how to adapt to each transition. I tried a plethora of different weapon combinations for this fight, switching back to the Sanctified Spark I used for Providence, which worked pretty well, and even experimenting with only using sentries rather than using a primary weapon alongside them. What I found to be the resounding best combo though was the Meowmere in conjunction with the Sanctified Spark. The extra damage from this brought me a good bit further into the fight, but I still needed some practice. Especially the slash attack where you have to dash quickly in the opposite direction. You'd think I'd be decent at it, but it really just comes out of nowhere sometimes. Damn, I wasn't expecting to dodge that. Oh, we are doing swell. Look at that. Oh, explosion got me. Alright, it was a good fight. There we go. 22 attempts on Cygnus is a bit tragic, but we've seen worse, and he's a required boss in this run, so I'll let it slide. Also, you may be wondering why all 3 Sentinels are required in this run. If you don't already know, you will find out soon enough. I put these things to camp here. That should be pretty good. Now, let's just go into an attempt. See what we're talking about. Oh, this phase I do not like. Can hardly even see my character, it's like you're playing 4-player split screen on an old PlayStation game or something. Oh, this is bad. Infernum Ceaseless Void is light years better than Death Mode, but it's still my least favorite Sentinel. Maybe I'm missing something, but it just gives me the vibe of being gimmicky for the sake of being gimmicky. We're getting Desperation already? Reinventing the wheel and turning it into a cheese wedge, so to speak. Wow. Nah, this might just be a second phase. Yeah, it is second phase. But I am killing him incredibly fast. Oh no, what the... Okay. I decided to bring back the Lunar Portal Staff again, since being directly on top of Ceaseless Void would allow it to hit constantly. And let me tell ya, this is the strat. The next attempt, I repositioned the portals to take even more advantage of the fact Ceaseless Void doesn't move, and that made things even better. That is some damage. Oh, okay, so now I've got the Lunar Portals literally on top of the Ceaseless Void. The damage is insane, because they're constantly hitting him. No breaks. I still don't see any reasonable way to dodge this attack. There's gotta be a trick, but it just really doesn't seem like there is. Black hole, you just kind of go to the left. The DPS was so high in this run that I even got to the desperation phase. This is where I want to use the Sanctified Spark. I found that the Lunar Portal Staff lost its effectiveness since the Ceaseless Void actually moves now, so I quickly, on the fly, switched back to the Sanctified Spark. All the while, just about avoiding Ceaseless Void's constant attacks. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. That still wasn't enough though, but I'd improved a lot in only 10 attempts, so I was more than willing to keep going. Black hole again? Wow. Alright, desperation. In this run, to save any complications from switching to the Sanctified Spark, I just used the Meow Mirror in conjunction with the portals. I see it now. Oh, I really do see it. Oh no. Zoom, mama. I won. Yes, I won! Let's go! Ceaseless Void, you are not too difficult, all things considered. I did good on that desperation phase. I was like, skill mode there. Now having all 3 Sentinels defeated and all 3 of their crafting materials, I'll show you why we needed to fight them. Since we've done all 3 Sentinels, we can craft the Devourer of God summon, with only one singular craft. Halabadubadab. And now we can fight Devourer of Gods whenever we so please. The Cosmic Worm actually has 2 recipes, the original one requiring all 3 Sentinel materials, and a second one added in a past update requiring 40 Luminite. This was added for the sake of non-linear progression, but would need an extra 40 crafts, which is utterly pointless in this run when Providence is a required boss, and Providence also drops the summon for the Sentinels. So with our only potential upgrades here being drops on the Sentinels themselves, there is nothing else to do but fight the Devourer of Gods. They must have made him slower, he feels slower. Although last time I did him was on a PlayStation controller, so guess that checks out. With the Elysian Wings and Elysian Aegis, our mobility was surprisingly perfectly on tier. The resounding issue here though, our main weapon is the Meow Mirror. I'll toot my own horn here, I'm good at Infernum Dog. But can I be good at Infernum Dog for potentially upwards of 10 minutes? Not to mention the fact that we'll have to do multiple cycles of the final phase, the phase that I am the least used to. This thing, you use an infinite flight mount? No, you do not need one. Who says you need one? You can just get good like me. See, look at that. No, I don't need DPS at all. I can just get good at this fight. Oh, that's really bad. Okay. That just killed me immediately. At this point, you're most definitely internally screaming by now, what about Old Duke? What about summoning Poltergeist manually? Poltergeist I find more difficult than Dog, but Old Duke is also a craftless boss, so we can try him at the very least. As I was told, it is just dash slot, with a little bit of projectile spam. It needs to be nighttime for this to really be easier to read. He is gonna take so long to kill! Look at his health! Okay, Meowmere is not the way here. After a few more attempts, I decided that Old Duke himself is not the way here. His weapons would probably double our DPS, but I literally never fight Old Duke. And I feel like with him I have too much to learn, whereas the Devourer of Gods I'm comfortable with. Good direction switch. Now it's this thing. Oh, this version. Okay, easy. I got it. Barely. Yeah, I should just use the black spot for that. Not gonna lie. Too early. That's bad. Ah, coil. Nice. I decided to equip the War Banner of the Righteous here, since Dog is a boss you get very up close and personal and intimate with. Wait, what? Oh. Yes. That's good enough speed. I'll take it. It's not as good as the Witch's Broom, but it works. Yeah, there we go. Now I got it. What? It hit me? Oh, I think it changes your hitbox. It does, it makes your hitbox like a couple tiles taller. Oh, hi. No, bruh! Whatever. For all these attempts so far, I was using the Sanctified Spark Sentry since it slowly follows you, but I decided to switch to the Portal Staff for funsies, and that dealt a lot more damage. I'd have to be mindful of where I was taking Dog and keep him a bit closer to the sentries for the most damage. And while that was difficult for most of the fight, I made sure every time I had Adrenaline to dash to where the portals are. This allowed me to hit upwards of 25,000 DPS, which is normal for when you're fighting Dog. I'm fine. Go off. Oh yeah, maybe I should save it for the, Desperation. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. As I said before, Dog's final phase was the one I was least accustomed to. I'd normally fluke it in a single cycle, but to make matters worse for this run, our damage is so low that we were going to have to do multiple cycles of this. But with our Lunar Portal Staff, it only took 4 minutes to get him to his final phase. Go. Here we go. Oh, bad. Then you wait longer. I nearly screwed up. Okay. Lasers? Yeah. Oh my! Easy cycle! Never mind. Oh, but those first 4, that is just... Oh. Oh, that was a bit scuffed. No. Yeah, it's over. Oh, wow. That is just insane luck. We'll call it final attempt on Dog, then I'm just gonna end the stream. Okay. One good night's sleep later, and with the attempts I've built up and the knowledge I've reinforced, it's been a great fight, Dog, but I've won. Actually, no, I haven't yet. Nah, fuck it, I've won. I'm ballsy. Calling it now. I'll be as ballsy as I want to be. I've won. That was a fun fight, man. That was actually really fun, challenging in the best way. We beat Infernum Dog pre-Poltergeist without crafting a single item. Sounds insane, but I found it kind of easy. After opening my treasure bag, I obtained the Hyperdeath Rift Scepter and the Staff of the Mechworm, which I don't pay much attention to right now, until I realise these are the only weapons we can use on Yaren. I scoured through the wiki, looked through every single NPC's shop inventory, but no, there is literally nothing else we can use right now. Alright, well I've got no choice, let's just do Dog again. With the Nebulous Core equipped and the Staff of the Mechworm at my disposal, I have no other option but to fight the Devourer of Gods again. One thing I didn't consider though, is that the Nebulous Core summons cosmic mines around the player, which, when you ram into the Devourer of Gods, actually do a shit ton of damage. So much so that I almost took out the Devourer of Gods in 3 minutes instead of 5. At least I've gotten good at Dog's final phase though, like I can do this flawlessly. The two main weapons I want from Dog anyways are the Excelsus and the Cosmic Discharge. One thing I didn't realise is that the Excelsus was renamed and completely reworked. Ah, they fucked with it. What the fuck is this? Come on, you know it was good the way it was, you just had to change it for no reason. I'll admit, it does look cool and the attack is unique, but the thing is, it was already awesome before. You took an already great weapon in terms of aesthetics and functionality, gave it a more convoluted name, and completely reworked the thing. I don't think anyone looked at Dog's loot pool and was like, man, this shit sucks, let's change it. Tangent aside, I also got the Dimension Tearing Disc, which is still the overpowered weapon it always was, and despite being a rogue weapon, still completely shreds the Devourer of Gods with our melee build. This is a 10% chance to Cosmic Discharge, so I might be here for a while, or I could be here for 5 seconds. No. Yes! Cosmic Discharge, okay, now I got a thing. With all 3 of the weapons I could possibly want now in my hands, the only thing left to do is to prepare for Yaren. And what does that entail, you might ask? 10 Ravager fights. It's not gonna be any more difficult now. Holy shit, that damage. Post-Providence Ravager is guaranteed to drop life alloys, rather than only dropping them at a 50% chance. Since Yaren's summon requires 10 life alloys, that means 10 Ravager fights, which all things considered wasn't actually as long as you might have thought. In fact, with the Cosmic Discharge I was able to get a 28-second fight. So I can safely say this was hardly a grind, and combined with the Effulgent Feathers I farmed earlier, I can craft the Blessed Phoenix Egg. And there we go, +1 craft. Before I get into Yaren though, I should mention that there are some crafts I'm skipping for right now, since like I said earlier, I want to wait till the very last minute for every craft, just in case there's any kind of spontaneous discovery. So, saving my problems to deal with later, I summon in the Jungle Dragon, with my only upgrades being 1 accessory and a few weapons. Actually, I'm not as close to Yaren as I thought I'd be. That's not as good. Oh. That's so much better. Well, it's still not good, but it's better. Oh, second subphase. That's right, slower dashes, but you do those. Infernum Yaren isn't a boss I'm particularly chummy with in the first place, and this challenge is only going to strain our relationship even further. After beating the Devourer of Gods, you can upgrade the Elysian Aegis into the Asgardian Aegis. Except crafting is illegal, so I'm stuck with the Elysian Aegis on a boss whose entire gimmick is dashing. I was inside that for a second. Okay, this subphase where he teleports. This one's fairly easy. You just have to get your timings right. Don't go inside the tornadoes, thank you. Okay, here we go. Also... That's right. That's fine. Teleport? Yeah. I'm doing so little damage though. Alright, that was my fault. Out of all the 3 weapons I had, I found the Eradicator to be the easiest to use and dealing the most damage. Yaren himself though, with an under-tiered dash, was very unforgiving to say the least. I was expecting hell for the second phase. Okay, here goes. Now for the funny dash time. Here we go. Melts. Never remembered it. Okay, that's fine, I got it. The issue with this boss is that it's literally designed around the cooldown and the length of the Asgardian Aegis dash. So what tricks do we even have up our sleeve at this point, aside from getting good? Well, there are 2. On the following stream after a good night's sleep, after remembering that the Murasama is a weapon that exists, I immediately switched to that. Then after clawing my way back to the second phase, I pull out the first ace from my sleeve. Right now. The Leviathan Ambergris reduces our dash cooldown, at the cost of making our dashes faster and more snappy, so you do it. Which, as a result, gives me a lot more leeway with the timing of my dashes. The second trick I mentioned, a chat member told me you can just go outside of the circle and nothing happens. And I thought he enraged or something, like I thought the boss was going to insta-kill me. Why would Yaren plant a circle if you can just go outside of said circle? After enough attempts, I got into a rhythm where I juke Yaren once and then dash into him so I can get the rhythm down. This is where I'm going to stay inside the circle. And yeah, once I mastered this tactic, the only difficult part of the fight was getting through the first phase. See, it's so easy, I just have to fucking focus. Yeah, I hate Yaren so much, dude. He really is my least favourite boss in Infernum. And there are some stinkers in this mod, the occasional one. Now having taken down Yaren, the very next thing I did was take down Yaren. But wait, let's rewind a bit. What kind of maniac would do that? Well, our battle against the Exomechs and Escal are going to rely on a certain few Yaren weapons. Namely, the Chicken Cannon, which is our ticket to a free Sepulture. I appreciate my hearing too much to use Dragon Rage, so no thanks. But anyways, from the first fight I got the Wrathwing, which is probably our best single target homing option in the entire game. This allows me to completely annihilate Yaren not 5 minutes after the first victory. Weapon? Okay, Burning Sky, that's good. The Burning Sky will be a useful weapon for arrows, but that's really about it. There we go, now give me the Chicken Cannon, that's like the last thing I want. I can really have fun with the second phase now there's like no urgency. Yes! Chicken Cannon! Now I'd farmed Yaren for every single thing he's worth, so the only thing remaining to do is craft the final boss summons, right? There were still some bosses we could take out without crafting a single item. Poltergeist being one of them. You can literally beat the entire game, but if you haven't beaten her, you will still get her natural spawn. It just takes a lot of dungeon enemies. So I spent some time hollowing out a big area in the dungeon to double as an enemy farm and also an arena for Poltergeist. There we go, got the messages again. I did try spawning her in, then immediately taking her to the archive, kind of like what you do with Plant Terror, but that was not very successful. Looks like that is, I also couldn't farm the enemies in the archive either, since this fat fuck gives us boss sen. So my only choice was to clear out an arena elsewhere, until... There we go. So, now I want to do this attack in here. Oh my... The lag is already onto me. I've done a severe fuck up. I'm gonna have to do her in here. Oh, this attack. Really? Already? Wow. Oh, the damage is insane. And you're in desperation already. Okay, I'm so surprised. Desperation in here is going to be kind of bad though. Oh, this is fine. There we go. Can't heal though. Oh, that's so bad. Fuck. Okay, I've got this though. Another 10 minutes of enemy grinding, and I get to the next attempt. Are you gonna start over there or over here? Oh, here. No, I was distracted! I found that standing directly in the middle of my arena and firing the chicken cannon turned the 10-minute wait into a 7-minute wait. That's gonna be impossible. In fact, no, I'm gonna come over here and do it. For fuck's sake, bro! I was beginning to lose heart here, especially since I was only doing this fight for the Affliction. A pretty good all-round accessory. This wasn't nearly as painful as Moonlord, but waiting upwards of 7 minutes for each attempt is still awful. Yes! And there's the Affliction. I replace my Worm Scarf with the Affliction, then immediately move on to the next craftless boss. First try, let's go. I gave Old Duke a few goes after beating Dog, but I never properly learned the fight, so I just gave up on it. But Old Duke just so happens to drop one of, if not the best sentry in the entire game, which will be invaluable for Escal. So with my post-Yaren gear, I turn this guy into fish and chips on a cold Thursday evening. Didn't get the sentry, so I'm gonna fight you again. And you're dead. Yeah, there's a sentry. There we go. Cadaverous. Carry on, good sir. Oh, that was a bit quick. Okay, 42,000 health. Oh my fuck. These things are good. Let's just say these are gonna carry for Escal. 4 of these sentries gave us 22,000 DPS on Skeletron Prime. Combining that with our main weapon, the Wrathwing, and the Lilies of Finality I forgot to pick up, we are gonna have more than a fighting shot at the 2 final bosses. There we go. Oh, look at that number! Whoa! First things first, we'll do the naughty present. To make the Auric Quantum Cooling Stone and summon Drayden, we first need endothermic energy from the Frost Moon. But the naughty present requires 20 silk, which in other words is 20 crafts, a big hit to our counter. Well, would have been if it wasn't for a certain Calamity added recipe. So 1 pair of Hermes boots. That's 1 shimmer. And that gives me 10 silk? Yes. With only 2 shimmers, we can get the silk we need for the naughty present, and craft it in only 3 total crafts. I use Skeletron Summon to make it nighttime, then summon in the Frost Moon. Now this is consumable, the Frost Moon summon, so I've only got 1 shot at getting everything I need. But luckily though, you only need about 40. Well, that's more than enough already. Actually, imagine if we get the reindeer balls. That'd be sick. Fortnite balls, I'm gay. Yes, reindeer balls. Now I can fly with the little reindeer. I had some fun with the Frost Moon since it will be the final moment of solace in this playthrough, then I got to the required crafts. 7 crafts. And then 1 more, so that's 8 crafts. The Blossom Pickaxe will be needed to mine Auric Ore, but there are some get fixed boy shenanigans I've heard of. That's a story for another day though. You can also get aura core by shimmering Yaren soul fragments, but the rate at which you get them isn't as efficient as just crafting the blossom pickaxe and mining the aura core. Next up, after crafting 10 luminite bars, I craft the cosmic anvil, adding 11 crafts to the counter. Now finally, with these two prerequisites made, I can return to some semblance of a normal playthrough and mine up aura core, which is very short-lived since we only need 100 aura core total. Oh, to be fair, I don't even need to mine that much, I can just go now. So I'm going to need to make 10 bars in total, but I'll save the final 5 for when I need them. For now it's just these 5, so that's 1 craft. There it is. The Auric Quantum Cooling Cell. That's 1 more craft, including the Auric bars I needed to make it. Now after all this time, we can finally 3D render Drayden's buttocks. All we have remaining in this playthrough are 2 more boss fights and 2 more crafts. The crafts are easy, but the bosses are not, so let's get into the exomechs. The normal combination I go for is the twins plus arrows, but this time I went for arrows plus the twins, which I don't know why I did, because the twins are literally easier. Damn, you gotta be tight with those. There we go, now for the easy part. Although I've given myself an awkward angle here. I don't know why, but with Infernum, some of the bosses just get easier as they go along. For example, this second phase with the twins and arrows is the second easiest, then the third phase with Thanatos is the easiest. Although with our mid DPS and even midder survivability, it will be a while before we get to that point. Oh, already? Wow. The chicken cannon deals decent enough damage to Thanatos, although it's not incredible. The main issue here right now isn't even our shoddy gear, it's just that the Exos in Infernum are actually a hard boss. I switch back to doing the twins and arrows for the next few attempts, and I get into a really good rhythm with the twins. But the issue is, every attack other than their main one is just full gold or bust, and I don't have a world arena. Nor do I have the DPS to make those secondary attacks a non-issue. So as it stands, the first phase is more luck right now than anything else. Nice, there we go. Close one. Perfect position, my sentries are on him. That is what you want in life. When I can get arrows to camp directly above my sentries, my DPS goes through the roof, but setting him up and positioning him this way is kind of awkward. That's okay, they're a bit too high, but that's fine. Oh, my chin is itchy. There we go. Got him. Now he's angry mode. Nice, I love it when you do the easy attack. That's so cool. I got it! I actually avoided that. Yeah, okay, now we've done arrows, it's basically a free fight. Now having reached this final phase of the fight, my primary objective is to completely nuke arrows, then simply run for my life during the twins' final phase, since you don't need to damage them in that phase. Wow. I think maybe I use Murasama for the twins. That might actually be a really genius idea, since I'm always very close to them. A chat member suggested I try to Murasama here for more DPS. Put the boys back on. The Valhalla Knight armor. And with nothing else to lose and my base being a complete graveyard, I thought why not? What's the worst that could happen? That's incredible. I got through the twins' first phase in record time, then when I got to arrows, whoa. There we go, now this guy's here. Look at that damage, it's insane. For Blender I can just do this. That's so cool. I've just discovered a new ray of hope for this entire challenge. Who would have thought that you can just completely destroy arrows like that? Maybe not, Thanatos. But arrows in the twins go down like soup when you do that. Thanatos would still be a bit of a struggle using the chicken cannon, but the Murasama just completely shredded every single other phase of the fight. I guess for this section at least, the Wrathwing is what I want. Yeah, looks like it. Oh, you can't just coil him. Although I seem to be getting trapped, never mind, I'm not. That is so funny. That is so cool. Whatever, that's fine. Oh no, he gets so close to me, okay. With the first two phases being a complete joke now, I get back to the final phase in no time. Die. Oh, the jolly old man laughs at the victory that lays before him. But good DPS can't save us from the twins' desperation phase. Okay, I need to... Do you get infinite flight for this? I don't know what to do for desperation. I know I've seen one person just completely nuke it by going up and down, but I don't know how to pull that off on my behalf. Gotcha. Okay, I really don't know how to do desperation here, so I need to shape up. I just find it really confusing, but I know there is a pattern to it. I've seen people do it. Like crazy mode. I'm just gonna go like this and see what happens. Fuck, what do you... Okay, I need to see the setup for this. How do they set up for the final... So... Well, you kind of have a world arena, so that's not really fair, is it? After another good few attempts at the Exos, I fight Yaren again for the Dragon Rage, which should help out with Thanatos. How on earth am I gonna coil you? Like that, of course. There you go. Never mind. Coiling Dog, let alone Thanatos, is something I have no clue how to do though, so I just stuck to fighting him normally, using the Wrath Wing for his other attacks, and using the Dragon Rage when he rams me. This made Thanatos a lot more consistent, and got me to the final phase on more attempts. Now the only thing that remains is desperation, but I'm still so confused as to how. In the no-hit I watched, it was kind of incomprehensible, but they flew down really quickly with the slime mount, and then flew back up to get the twins locked in the position to their favour, making both of them dash in somewhat synchronization. I did it! I've done it! I've beat the Exos! Fuck yeah, baby! That's how you do it! That is how you beat the Exo mechs, without crafting a single item. Except the items that you need to craft. That's how you do it, boy! Now what do I get? This beautiful thing. I'm pretty sure there was like one weapon that was good for Sepultura, but I don't need that because I got Chicken Cannon. The Exos don't really drop anything useful aside from the Draiden's Heart, but I need to beat both the Exos and Escal to beat the game. So with the Exos short-circuited, I can move on to the very final crafts, and thus Escal. Now, the very final craft we need to do in this run is Escal summon herself, the altar of the accursed. And the reason I made cow clones is because you need the ashes of Calamity to actually summon her. Okay, the final two crafts in the game. That's the first one, and that's the final other craft we need to do for the final boss. I'll just take a little bit of mining, take all of these platforms away. So now to actually fight Escal, I need the Ashes of Calamity from Cow Clone. This might be a bit tough. Oh, that was a challenge and a half. So now I have to fight the final boss, Escal. Let's go. I don't think this will be too incredibly hard, especially not with the sentries. And the fact that we have the, Draiden's Heart now. Oh, I should have bought the Chicken Cannon for Sepultura. That's okay, he'll go down anyways. I was still as apprehensive as ever for Escal. In Infernum, she is no joke, even with good gear. Damage is okay. You need to be closer to the sentries. Thank you. So I was gonna have to pull some fucking skill out of my hat for this one. Some bosses took 2 streams, this could take 3 or 4 streams. There we go, that's really good damage. That's on par. Now for Unseen Hand. Oh hi, that's quick. That's a lucky dodge. Oh, yes, I got it. Oh no, oh okay, you didn't get to that attack, good. Now for this attack, this very hard attack. Circle time. Oh yeah, I forgot, I've got no healing potions. Okay, I see how you do that, that's perfect. Where do those birds even come from? Why does cow spawn birds? That's the way you do that, nice. Oh no. Oh hi. This, as long as you're wary of these stupid fuck-ass birds, it's actually okay. Straight into that attack is lethal though. Like with every other boss, as the attempt counter slowly racked up, I became more accustomed to S-Cow's attacks and learnt her patterns, but the attacks themselves are actually difficult to dodge. I found the secret to Unseen Hand. You just go up and down. That's a couple of them, holy shit. I used adrenaline when I didn't even get hit. Oh no, that's bad. Okay. Now for brothers. This could be the phase that makes or breaks the fight, because they ain't easy. I thought I could get a heal off. Now I can. There we go, perfect. And now it's the first circle time. Should be easy on a keyboard and mouse, since last time I did it I was on controller. Miles easier on keyboard and mouse. Who would have thought? Like, seriously. I don't know what you do after this. Oh, okay, it's that attack. That's fine. S-Cow, the fight that gets easier as it goes along. Piss off, Blood Moon. It was at this point I discovered a nifty little trick that makes Sepultura even more effortless than it already was. If you let go of left click as the chicken cannon fires and immediately press left click again, you can effectively double fire the chicken cannon. Meaning that Sepultura doesn't even get past his first attack. Kind of irrelevant when there's a whole fight ahead of us, but I just thought it was pretty cool. Oh no. I just realized I could be doing a lot more damage if I were to equip these. Since I'm rogue, I don't know why I have Valhalla Knight equipped. Wow. Okay, so the set of graphs where the birds spawn, I see. Unseen Hand again. Oh, that was a really bad position. That's fine though. I did it, wow. Well, that was fast. Oh no. I jumped into it. On semi-rare occasions, I'd make it past the brothers phase, but I'd have to be even luckier to make it past the rest of the fight. Essentially, a long chain of perfect execution. The funny thing is, I actually find Infernum S-Cow's later phases easier than the earlier ones, especially her desperation too. Now one thing I want to try, there is a summon damage penalty if you use any other weapon in Calamity, so if I switch to the Valhalla Knight armor, so I get more defense and all the sentries, then just hold, you can hold the Rod of Discord and it won't apply. Maybe I'll do more damage with just sentries? I was so bored out of my mind at this point that I wasn't even trying this because I thought it would be better, I just wanted something new to play with. The thing is though, it could actually be better. The Wrathwing would take up so much real estate on the screen, not to mention the mental load of having to aim the thing. The sentries dealt near equivalent damage to my hybrid build from before, and allowed me to focus a lot deeper into the fight. Okay, I got it. Sentries only is the way, I will say. So that's a given because of revive, and that's a given because of dodge. Affliction is just all-round amazing, so is Community. And this slot, I guess the only thing I can put here is the Old One's Army accessory. That's like the best damaging, purely damaging thing I can get. I managed to pull myself away from Escal for a few minutes to farm one of the sentry accessories from the old one's army. Since for our sentry only build, having an entire extra sentry on top of 10% summon damage will flush every other damaging accessory down the toilet. Okay, good out of dodge. With my sentry build now fully realized, the fight became much more consistent, although the Soulseeker phase was still a brick wall I couldn't climb past. I simply wasn't dealing enough damage to get past them in a reasonable amount of time, since these sentries are single target only. I'd completely optimized my sentries for this fight at this point, even having a little platform that could actually target Escal when she goes to the middle.
Shit, it's gone. That's fine, I didn't really need it.
I tried using the chicken cannon on the Soulseekers, but that ended up dealing less damage than the sentries alone. The next time I got to Seekers, which didn't happen for a while by the way, I tried using the Dragon Rage, which ended up working flawlessly. So now that I can get through the beginning of the fight, brothers occasionally, and the Seeker phase, I have made pretty much every single optimization I can make aside from getting good at the game.
Oh wow, that's a lot of them. Oh, I did not see those. Where did they come from? Yeah, I beat you. This is the one. Ballsy time. This is real the one. I don't. Okay, that was close.
Yeah, easy. See, I told you, it's easy, I just had to get good.
Oh, yes!
The fucking beat dropped as soon as she died. I would blast this shit on stream if it wasn't copyrighted. Oh, congratulations. Exact 5-minute fight. It is done! You can beat Calamity Infernum kind of without crafting any gear. Just boss summons. Calamity Infernum is possible to beat in 51 crafts and 3D crafts, 54 crafts in total, and by extension is also possible to complete without crafting any weapons, accessories, armor sets, and anything else. But it's possible to go lower, much lower. Let's talk about the things I missed out on. First of all, if you're willing to spend tens of hours farming for life alloys, then you don't need to craft Ravager's Summon since you can fish up the Ravager with the trusty old rod, thus bringing our total down to 53. This also applies to Providence too if you're playing on death mode. You don't need to craft a Profane Shard since you don't need to fight the Profane Guardians at all, bringing the counter down to a total of 47. To my knowledge, that's the absolute lowest you can go on death mode, but what about Get Fixed Boy? In Get Fixed Boy, for absolutely no reason in particular, Astrum Aureus can drop any item that's crafted with Luminite bars, meaning that from a measly 1 extra craft from the Astral Chunk, you no longer have to craft the Cosmic Worm, Voltage System, or the Cosmic Anvil, and the Profane Shard if you're not willing to fish for Providence. And if you do all the calculations, this means you can beat Calamity Get Fixed Boy in only 25 crafts, 22 normal crafts, and 3D crafts. Thank you so much for watching all the way. This was a long one, and there's going to be plenty more long ones to come. And also an extra thank you to my YouTube members and Patreons. You guys are doing good. if this video made your day better, then consider liking and subscribing to make my day better too. Thank you. See ya.